Hello dear students, welcome to a new session. Today we are studying NCERT 9th Standard Science Chapter 6 Tissues. Let's start the class. In the previous class we have discussed about cells. Cell is the fundamental structural and functional unit of all living organisms. All living organisms are made up of cells. Unicellular organisms perform all the functions such as digestion, respiration, excretion, reproduction, etc. by a single cell. In the case of amoeba. However, multicellular organisms have several cells which are grouped together, and these cells are specialized to carry out different functions. These are called tissues. A tissue is a group of similar cells to perform a specific function. Tissues are further classified into plant tissue and animal tissue. This is because the structural and functional organization is different in both. Plants are stationary or fixed. They don't move. Animals, on the other hand, move around in search of food, mates, and shelter. Most of the plant tissues are dead. Most of the animal tissues are living. Another difference between animals and plants is in the pattern of growth. The growth in plants is limited to certain regions, while this is not so in animals. Now we are going to discuss about plant tissues. Based on the dividing capacity of the tissues, various plant tissues can be classified as meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue can multiply to produce new cells. These tissues found at all growing points of a plant, such as the tips of roots, stems, and branches. Then what are the characteristics of meristematic tissue? Cells are small, cells are usually cubical, cell walls are thin, nuclei are large, vacuoles almost absent. Cells tightly packed without intercellular spaces. The cells actively divide, adding new cells to the plant. The different types of meristematic tissues are apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. Apical meristem, these are present at growing tips of stems and roots. These are helpful in increasing the length of the stems and the roots. Intercalary meristem, these are present at the base of the leaves, otherwise called nodes, or internodes. Internodes means the space between two nodes are called internodes of twigs. It helps in elongation of plants. Next is lateral meristem. These are present on the lateral side of the stem and roots. It helps in increasing the girth of the stem or root. What happens to these cells formed by meristematic tissue? They take up a specific role and lose the ability to divide. As a result, they form a permanent tissue. This process of taking up a permanent shape, size, and a function is called differentiation. Cells of meristematic tissue differentiate to form different types of permanent tissue. Different types of permanent tissues are simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissues are parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Simple permanent tissues are made up of only one type of cells. That is, the cells forming these tissues are similar in structure and function. Simple permanent tissue. Parenchyma. They are located in soft parts of the plant. Important features are cells are thin-walled, living cells, oval or round in shape with dense cytoplasm. Possess large central vacuoles. Cells are usually loosely packed with large spaces between the cells. That means intercellular spaces are present. Main functions are: it serves as food storage tissue. This tissue provides support to the plant. When parenchyma cell contains chlorophyll in some situation, It performs photosynthesis. Such a type of parenchyma tissue is called chlorenchyma. Parenchyma cells with a chloroplast or chlorophyll is called chlorenchyma. In aquatic plants, large air cavities are present in parenchyma cells in order to give buoyancy to plants, which help them to float. Such a type of parenchyma tissue is called aerenchyma. Parenchyma cells with air cavities are called aerenchyma. Parenchyma of stems and roots also stores nutrients and water. Collenchyma. These tissues are generally found in leaf stalks below the epidermis and leaf midribs. Important characteristic features are cells are living, elongated, irregularly thickened at the corners. They have very little intercellular spaces. Main functions are it provides mechanical support and flexibility to plants. It also allows easy bending in various parts of the plant without breaking. Next is about sclerenchyma. This type of tissue is present in stems, around vascular bundles, in the veins of leaves, and in hard covering of seeds and nuts. One of the examples is husk of coconut. Then important features are the cells of sclerenchymatous tissue are dead. The cells are long and narrow in appearance. Cell walls are thickened due to lignin. Lignin is a chemical substance. Due to lignin deposition, cell walls are thickened, which acts as cement and hardens them. Due to the presence of thick walls, there is no internal space between the cells. There is no intercellular space. Functions of sclerenchyma. It is known to be chief mechanical tissue which makes the plant hard and stiff. Example, husk of coconut is made up of sclerenchymatous tissue. It forms protective covering around seeds and nuts. It gives rigidity, flexibility, and elasticity to the plant body. Next, simple protective tissues. Protective tissues are epidermis and cork. The protective tissue is meant to provide protection to the plants from undue loss of water and thus retain adequate water in them. Two types of protective tissues present in plants are epidermis and cork. Epidermis, the outermost layer, that is, epidermis in plants is made up of a single layer of cells. It protects all parts of the plant. On the aerial parts of the plant, epidermal cells often secrete a waxy, water-resistant layer on their outer surface, which provides protection against loss of water, mechanical injury, and attack by microbes also. Cells of epidermal tissue form a continuous layer and have no intercellular space due to its protective role. Most epidermal cells are relatively flat. The outer wall and side walls are thickened. Epidermal cells of leaf bear small pods known as stomata. These are enclosed by two kidney-shaped cells called guard cells. Stomata are responsible for the exchange of gases with the atmosphere and for the process of transpiration. Transpiration means loss of water in the form of water vapors. Epidermal cells of the roots helps to absorb water and nutrients from the soil. In case of desert plants, epidermis has a thick waxy coating of cutin. Cutin, it is a chemical substance with a waterproof quality. Cutin on its outer surface to prevent water loss. Next protective tissue is the cork. It is the stripe of secondary meristem which replaces the epidermis of older stems. Cells of cork are dead, compactly arranged, and have no intercellular spaces. It forms bark of the tree. It means several layers thick. A chemical substance called suberin is present in their walls. which makes them impervious to gases and water. Next is about complex permanent tissue. Complex permanent tissue, it is made up of more than one type of cells having a common origin. Hence, cells look different from each other, unlike simple permanent tissue, in which cells are similar in appearance. Types of complex permanent tissues are xylem and phloem. These complex permanent tissues are otherwise called conducting tissues. Xylem. The cells of xylem have thick walls and many of them are dead. It is responsible for the transport of water and minerals from roots to other parts of the plant. Xylem consists of various types of elements: tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem fibers. These are the four elements of xylem. Tracheids are dead, long, tubular structures with tapering ends. They transport water and minerals vertically. Vessels are long, tube-like structures formed by a row of cells placed end to end. These are also dead cells with lignified walls. Vessels are with the lignified walls. They also help in conduction of water. Vessels also help in conduction of water. Xylem parenchyma, they are living cells. It stores food and helps in the sideways conduction of water. Xylem fibers are elongated dead cells with tapering ends and thick cell walls. Next is phloem. It transports food from leaves to other parts of the plant. Materials can move in both directions in it. All phloem cells are living except phloem fibers. Phloem is made up of four types of elements: sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchyma. Sieve tubes are tubular cells with perforated walls. They have thin layer of cytoplasm. Companion cells are small, elongated cells having thin walls which are not perforated. Phloem fibers provide mechanical strength to the tissue. Phloem parenchyma help in storage and lateral conduction of food. On the basis of the functions they perform, animal tissues are classified into four types: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue. These are the covering or protective tissues in the animal body. It covers most organs and cavities of the body. Cells are tightly packed and form a continuous sheet. There is almost no intercellular space between them. On the basis of shape of the cell and their arrangement, epithelial tissues are further classified as squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated columnar epithelium, and glandular epithelium. These are the five types of epithelial tissues. First of all, about squamous epithelium. The skin which protects the body is made up of squamous epithelium. Two types of squamous epithelium: simple squamous epithelium and stratified squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelial tissues, it covers the esophagus and lining of mouth. Stratified squamous epithelial tissues are found in the outer side of the skin and which are resistant to mechanical injury and is waterproof. Cuboidal epithelial tissues, it is made up of cube-shaped cells which have round nuclei. It forms lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary glands. It provides mechanical support. It also helps in absorption, excretion, and secretion. Next is columnar epithelium. It is made up of tall, pillar-like cells with elongated nuclei. It is usually found in the inner lining of intestine, where absorption and secretion occurs. Next is ciliated columnar epithelium. When columnar epithelial cells possess cilia, that is hair-like projections, it is called ciliated columnar epithelium. The cilia have the ability to move. Their movement pushes substances forward like mucus. It is found in the respiratory tract and also lines oviducts, sperm ducts, kidney tubules, etc. Next is glandular epithelium. Gland cells secrete substances at the epithelial surface. These are glandular epithelium. Sometimes a portion of epithelial tissue folds inwards. This results in the formation of a multicellular gland. Its tissue is called glandular epithelium. Then what are the functions of epithelial tissues? Main functions are it helps in absorption of water and nutrients and in diffusion of gases. It helps in elimination of waste products from the body. Next is about connective tissues. This tissue is specialized to connect various body organs with each other. For example, it connects two or more bones to each other, muscle to bones, likewise. The cells of connective tissues are loosely packed with intercellular matrix. Different types of connective tissues are blood, bone, ligaments, tendons, cartilage, areolar tissue, and adipose tissue. First of all, about blood. It is a fluid connective tissue that links different parts of the body. It contains fluid matrix called plasma and cellular part called blood cells. Blood cells are RBCs, that is red blood corpuscles, and WBCs, white blood corpuscles, and platelets. Plasma contains proteins, salts, and hormones. Then functions of blood are blood transports nutrients, gases, hormones, and vitamins to various tissue of the body and carries excretory products from tissues to excretory organs. It also conducts heat and regulates body temperature. One of the important functions of the blood is it conducts heat and regulates our body temperature. RBCs help in transport of respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide. These are the respiratory gases with the help of hemoglobin to and from the various parts of our body. WBCs, white blood corpuscles, fight with diseases by producing antibodies. Blood platelets help in the clotting of blood. Next connective tissue is the bone. It is very strong and non-flexible tissue. It is porous, mineralized, hard and rigid tissue. Its matrix is made up of proteins, calcium and phosphorus. It forms the framework that supports the body. It also anchors the muscles and supports the main organs. Next connective tissue is the ligaments. They connect one bone to other bone. Then tendons. They connect skeletal muscles to bones. Next is cartilage. Cartilage provides smoothness to the bone surface at the joints. It is present in the nose, ear, trachea, and larynx. Next connective tissue is the areolar tissue. It is located between skin and muscles, around blood vessels, and nerves and in the bone marrow. It supports internal organs and helps in repair of tissues. Next connective tissue is the adipose tissue. It is located below the skin and in between internal organs. It serves as a fat reservoir. It keeps visceral organs. Visceral organ means internal organs of the body within the chest. Visceral organs in position acts as an insulator due to storage of fat. Insulator means does not allow the passage of heat. Next tissue is the muscular tissue. It consists of elongated cells called muscle fibers. This tissue is responsible for the movement in our body. It contains special type of proteins called contractile proteins, which causes movement of muscles by contracting and relaxing. Different types of muscular tissues are striated muscles, unstriated muscles, and cardiac muscles. Striated muscles are also called voluntary muscles, as we can move them by conscious will. Muscles present in our limbs move when we want them to and stop when we decide. So, Example of these striated muscles are muscles in our limbs, hands and legs. Mostly attached to bones, they help in body movement. These muscles are also called skeletal muscles. The cells are long, cylindrical, unbranched, and multinucleate. Striated muscles show alternate light and dark bands or striations. Striations present. Thus, they are known as striated muscles. Next is unstriated muscles or smooth muscles. These are also called involuntary muscles, as we cannot move them according to our will. Example, movement of foot in alimentary canal, contraction and relaxation of blood vessels, iris of eye, muscles present in ureters, in muscles present in bronchi of lungs. All these are examples of unstriated muscles. The cells of smooth muscles are long with pointed ends, that means spindle shaped, and uninucleate. These muscles do not show any dark or light band, so they are called unstriated muscles. Next, muscular tissue, that is cardiac muscle. These are involuntary muscles present only in our heart. They perform rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout the life. These involuntary muscles are called cardiac muscles. The cells of cardiac muscles are cylindrical in shape, uninucleate, and branched. Cardiac muscles have stripes of light and dark bands. Next tissue is the nervous tissue. The cells of nervous tissue are highly specialized for receiving stimulus and then transmitting it very rapidly from one place to another within the body itself. They are called the nerve cells or neurons. They enable the cells to respond according to stimuli received. Brain, spinal cord, and nerves are composed of nervous tissue. It is the parts of neuron. It consists of mainly three parts: cell body, axon, and dendrites. Cell body consists of cytoplasm, nucleus, and cell membrane. Axon is a single long conducting fiber extending from neuron. It transmits impulse away from the cell body. Dendrites are short branched fibers of neuron which receive nerve impulses. Many nerve fibers bound together by connective tissue making up a nerve. Nerve impulse allows us to move our muscles according to our will. Combination of nerve and muscle tissue in animals cause rapid movement in response to stimuli. Students, here is the end of the chapter tissues. Hope all of you understood well. Thank you and have a nice day.